Next, wishing to testify in support of the bill is Jonathan Miller via Zoom. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Jonathan Miller. I'm the General Counsel for the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, which is the hemp industry's national advocacy organization. We were deeply involved in helping craft federal legislation that has provided for the legalization of hemp. And we're also engaged in, we've been engaged in probably 24 states to promote legalization and the regulatory treatment of hemp and hemp products. We worked very closely with your all's cannabis division to help deal with a particular issue of crisis, which involved intoxicating cannabis products that were being sold under the guise of hemp. One of them that's most prominent is known as Delta-8 THC. And together with them, we made recommendations to the legislature, which passed a bill that we are now using as a model for the rest of the country. Michigan's law in terms of how we treat intoxicating cannabis versus non-intoxicating hemp is something that has already been copied in California and is something that we are sharing with other states across the country. So real big kudos to Michigan for taking a national leadership role on this. So today, this bill is dealing with non-intoxicating hemp. As the representative mentioned before me, this is deals with the subject of the most popular hemp product, which is CBD. About 60% of all hemp grown across the country is for the purposes of CBD. That's not always going to be the case, but right now it's the most popular product. And unfortunately, a few years ago, a state agency in Michigan sent out public guidance arguing that it was illegal to sell CBD as a dietary supplement or a food and beverage additive. Now, you might ask, wait a minute, I see CBD being sold everywhere in Michigan, and it has. But unfortunately, it is now being sold in this gray area where the state has said that it's illegal. And yet folks across the state have great demand and interest in purchasing these products. So what this legislation does, it does a number of small and technical things, but the main thing it does is it makes clear that hemp-derived CBD, as long as it's not intoxicating, can be added to dietary supplements and to food and beverages. What that will do is it will take the gray markets, make them black and white, allow the state to regulate these products as dietary supplements and as food and beverages. And so it will not just be folks who are willing to take the risks of violating the law that are going to be selling these products, but rather it will open up a real boom in markets for these products, which ultimately is to the benefit of hemp farmers in Michigan. This will really dramatically increase these markets in Michigan. We've seen this transpire. If Michigan passes this law, these bills, it will be, I believe, the 27th state to do so. Again, California just did last week, and most of the states that border Michigan already have these protections, and we would love to see Michigan do the same. And so this is a vote in favor of legalizing a product that is very popular for consumers, one that is very helpful for farmers, and being able to now put it into the regulatory sphere so it's no longer this gray market. I'll stop there and see if you all have any questions for me.
Thank you. As anything new comes online, it's kind of gray areas all over, and what we try to do is try to bring them in. I'm glad to see that you're trying to, get a happy medium so that the hemp growers can continue growing. No pun intended, in the state. How many hemp growers do we have right now? Do you know by any chance?
I don't know that, but I do know that it's become something that's become a real exciting crop. There was an article in the Detroit News about this just a couple days ago, and there's demonstrated significant interest. But you'll see in that Detroit News concern about the gray area regulation and why this bill would be so important.
So what's the market for hemp right now? Where do they take their product to get processed if you're growing it?
So there are processors, in Michigan and across the country, there is a tremendous demand for dietary supplements, which tinctures, gummies, tablets. But the really exciting, huge market that we're expecting to open is in food and beverages, where you've got Molson Coors, for example, in Colorado, adding CBD to some of their products because it's clearly legal in Colorado, and many other big food companies and drink companies taking a close look at adding these products. Once those markets open, Katie bar the door, it will be a tremendous opportunity.
All right, thank you, Representative DeMoose.
I have a question. Just help me with it from an educational standpoint. Now that we're talking about putting this in, legalizing these sort of casual consumer products that anybody can get, what type of drug interactions do we need to be aware of with CBD oil?
So CBD has been in a very concentrated form, has been approved as an FDA drug, a product called Epidiolex, which has been studied very closely and approved in that form. There has been a ton of research done on CBD as a dietary supplement, food and beverage additive at much lower milligram levels than in that approved product. And what's been determined is that it is has a very strong safety profile. The adverse effects that have been reported for legitimate hemp-derived CBD products are very, very, very low. And I'm unaware of any studies that have demonstrated drug interactions with other products. Now, obviously, this is a new, relatively new product. It was just 2018 when hemp was legalized federally, and I'm sure there'll be more studies. But to date, the studies done by industry, done by academia, done in front of the FDA have demonstrated it's got a very strong safety profile.
What kind of, if I can follow up, what kind of warning labels would be included on these products? When I see nice little pictures of these chill gummy bears, I look at it like my kids are attracted to that. I might even buy them for them by accident. Here, what type of warning labels would be required?
Well, the FDA is not yet regulated these products, but most good faith manufacturers are providing a lot of detailed information, including QR codes that allow for clear transparency in terms of what's in the product and what what they do. There are on most products warnings that advise about seeing a physician if you're going to give it to children. But we certainly do welcome what other states have done in this area of labeling. And if Michigan wants to develop its own specific regulations for labeling, we would love to work with you on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Rep. Altman?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, sir, for being here to testify. A little bit familiar with CBD. I know it's used quite frequently in many instances, one being to treat children that have severe seizures and things like that. I also give it to my dog. It's actually great for older dogs. Just a question here. Looking at this document, it says that the FDA doesn't consider CBD an approved additive for consumable products. Have you heard any whispers of the administration changing that policy?
Yeah, so the latest, I guess more than a whisper, less than a shout, was that the acting commissioner of the FDA just gave a public speech about this and said that they were not opposed to CBD as a matter of policy, but that their hands were tied by what's known as the investigational new drug preclusion, IND preclusion. So CBD, as I mentioned before, had been approved as a drug, and there's a law on the books that says that if it's been approved by a drug, it cannot then subsequently be approved as a dietary supplement or food and beverage additive. Now, we as the industry disagree at the timing of that. We believe these products were sold prior to the drug approval. But what's very clear is that we need to have legislation in Congress to address this. There is a bill right now, HR 841, that has been introduced. It has 31 co-sponsors, 19 Democrats and 12 Republicans, which, as you all know, that kind of bipartisanship is quite rare in Washington. And we're expecting a hearing on that within the next couple of weeks. So we're hopeful that by the end of this year, early next year, that the FDA will be the barriers to the FDA getting involved in regulating these products will be lifted, and we'll be able to start having federal regulations.
Oh, that's great to hear. I look forward to that. Nothing further from me, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. Not seeing any. Thank you for your testimony. I really appreciate you coming out today.
Great. Thank you all for having me.